Hello everyone. So today I will be talking about hate in America using the theory and paradigm that I chose. So another way to analyze hate in America is by using the labeling theory along with the paradigm of symbolic interactionalism. The labeling theory focuses on perceptions of deviance being labeled as deviant leads to a person to engage in deviant behavior. This theory tries to explain why people's behavior clashes with any social norm. As for the paradigm of symbolic interactionalism goes, this allows theorists to analyze communication in a subjective way to come to an understanding. In this case, it would be understanding why a certain group of society is being viewed in a certain way, so why this is happening. I will focus on why hate in America is causing these behaviors among Americans. In the video of the panelists that we were assigned, Dolly states that hate and discrimination is becoming more of a problem in America simply because more of it is being noticed among other cultures in America. She continues to explain individual situations involving the survivors of hate and discrimination. This relates to the labeling theory because the stigma of how people are supposed to be accepted in society is being socially constructed, creating individuals that are considered a marginalized group feel inferior instead of included. In society, people are surrounding themselves with negative influences which result in deviant behaviors. Like we talked about in class, in places like New York and Chicago, we are seeing more gated communities. These gated communities are drawing people with similar social classes together. Looking at specifically the lower class communities, these areas are known to have higher crime rates because the people there are labeled a certain way within society. So to move on to what I found during my research, I found that since deviance is an apparent factor when discussing hate and discrimination, I chose to make this my foundation during my research. In a study conducted by Burt Simmons and Gibbons in 2012, they concluded that since every race does have a social stigma already created in society, Americans are choosing to exclude them. This isn't only happening in society, but in the criminal justice system as well. By eliminating biases that have been socially constructed between races specifically, a final court ruling will be less likely to be swayed for or against a person due to biases. A quote from Sampson and Bean states, "Race is a maker of the constellation of social contexts." Like stated before, the awareness is growing and so is the issue of hate and discrimination in America. To go to the root of the problem, a study that I found conducted by Hayes explains self-definition has a potential of making individuals identify to a certain culture or a group within society. This relates to labeling yourself using social class, ethnicity, and gender. In the workplace, employers are more often hiring races or genders to be able to fit into a certain role within the workplace. Using an example found in a study conducted by John Kitsu, he concluded that since some areas of the world African Americans have a lower percentage of getting hired in white-collar jobs and this is causing African Americans to partake in deviant behaviors to find alternative jobs. I found a quote within the study stating sociology of deviant behavior conformity will have to devise ways to conceptualize responses of deviant behavior from the standpoint of their relevance to extinct the deviant behaviors. So moving on to my interesting facts, I chose to find hate crimes that are going on now in America. This is a way for us to notice the deviant crimes that are coming from cultures in America not accepting one another for who they are. So an Oregon State University student with ties to white nationalists in Pacific Northwest was convicted of charges related to putting offensive stickers on cars of the members of a racial justice group. Corvallis police say Oswalt was an accomplice, placed bumper stickers with a racist slur about African Americans on cars at a food co-op in June 2017. Prosecutors had charged the PhD candidate in chemistry with 3 accounts of intimidation, a felony of hate crime under Oregon statute. He also charged with 2 counts of criminal mischief and a misdemeanor. The next case I found was about an Albany resident who wants to stay anonymous, but she said her rainbow flag that once hung proudly on her front porch was set on fire a few nights prior. The resident says she lives on with her domestic partner, and they put a flag up during Pride Month last June. She said, I want to make it really clear that everyone is welcome everywhere in the U.S. That's really important and a very American sentiment, she explained.